Well, up above my head, I hear music in the air. Well, up above my head, I hear music in the air. Well, up above my head, I hear music in the air. And I do believe there's a heaven somewhere. Well, up above my head, I hear laughter in the air. Up above my head, I hear laughter in the air. Well, up above my head, I hear laughter in the air. And I do believe there's a heaven somewhere. Well, up above my head, I hear dancing in the air. Up above my head, I hear dancing in the air. Up above my head, I hear dancing in the air. And I do believe there's a heaven somewhere. How about some clapping? Up above my head, I hear clapping in the air. Up above my head, I hear clapping in the air. Up above my head, I hear clapping in the air. And I do believe there's a heaven somewhere. Last time, here we go. Well, up above my head, I hear music in the air. Up above my head, I hear music in the air. Up above my head, I hear music in the air. And I do believe there's a heaven somewhere. And I do believe there's a heaven somewhere. And I do believe, well, there's a heaven somewhere.
Um, Comic is one of many people in our community who have spent some time living in another L'Arche community. And I believe together, Tomek and Clara will share a little bit with us just about that experience and how we can connect with L'Arche in Poland and how we can understand a little bit more about life there. So welcome, Tomek.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, we're so glad you can be with us, Tomek.
Hi, Tomek.
Hi, Clara. Thank you for asking me to do this.
Yeah, well, we were, exploring this theme of solidarity, and your name came up, yours and Tom's name, and I don't know if Tom is joining us here. Is Tom? Are you there today?
I don't see him, and I think they have a team meeting right now, so
Okay.
I don't think so. Be
So Tom will be here with us in images for sure, because there's lots of pictures of Tom that we're about to see. But we thought of you and Tom because I know that you took kind of quite a significant trip together that took you to a couple of different parts of the world, and I just thought of this friendship that bears much fruit, and that this trip was not only the coming together of friends, but the coming together of culture, and in the solidarity, in our month of solidarity, we're really wanting to kind of broaden and remember our kind of global L'Arche family, and so we wanted to invite you to share a little bit about this trip, and well, maybe we can start with this map, Tomek, and maybe you can point out these significant spots on the map to start us out.
So in 2002, we were invited by Faith and Light, we were part of it, with Mary Bastida was there as well. We invited to take a trip to Lourdes in France. It's the place where Faith and Light was born. And so Tom and I, we thought about sharing our Polish roots, and also with his mom and dad, we thought, why don't we go to visit Poland after? It was the first time Tom never visited Poland. So we said we will do that.
So your initial trip was to Lourdes, France, which is a place of pilgrimage
Right.
for Faith and Light. Maybe could you say a little bit about Faith and Light? Are you able to do that?
Mm-hmm. Faith and Light was born in early 1970s, and I think for the 1971 was the first time Faith and Light went for the pilgrimage to Lourdes. Lourdes it's a place in France where people associated with being healed. Sick people used to go there, and they believed they would be healed by the power of God and the Virgin Mary. And then, but when Lourdes went in 1971, was the first time group of people went not to ask for healing, but with thanksgiving for life. And that's, I believe, that was a part of Faith and Light was born. And yeah.
And Faith and Light is a sister organization to L'Arche.
That's right.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
So it's a coming together of families with their families who have a member of the family with a disability, and it's a way to network, pray together, build friendship and support. Right?
That's right. So that's Tom and his mom. I don't know how old he's there, but I know he was 10 years old, I believe, and he went first time with his mom to Lourdes when he was 10 years old, 1971. And that's where Tom and his mom, they met L'Arche, because also L'Arche Daybreak was there, and there was a pilgrimage of L'Arche together, joined with the Faith and Light. Tom's mom saw L'Arche, and since then she was dreaming, she had the really desire that Tom would join L'Arche community. Many years, probably 20 years before Tom came, they were praying that Tom will come to L'Arche.
And Tom now lives at Center Street.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said. The first L'Arche pilgrimage was 1971.
And I don't know if Mary, were you at that 1971 pilgrimage? know if Mary's there.
No, I was not. The first one I went
Okay.
to was 2001. But also
Okay.
Mike Ritchie and his mom were there in 1971.
Oh, good little trivia there. Excellent. Wow.
Oh, that's the picture from 1971. I don't know where Tom is. I
No,
lost him.
that's 2001, right?
Right. I don't know where Tom is. At some point, I lost him, but that was a different time, so I don't know where he's there.
I think he's behind you.
Oh,
Isn't
he
that
is.
him?
Yes.
Yeah. So Mary, I can see you there in the front. There's a few familiar faces there. There's Helen Jordan beside you. Is that right?
That's right.
Who we just spoke about.
Yeah, we were 32 people, a mixture of Faith and Light and L'Arche Toronto and L'Arche Daybreak.
And yeah, I can see some L'Arche Toronto faces.
Yeah.
And there's Della from L'Arche Stratford. And so then Tom, you and Tomek you and Tom took a trip back to France. Was it part of the 30th anniversary or of the pilgrimages? Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So then you decided to make this side trip to Poland.
That's right. So after the pilgrimage was done, Tom and I took another plane to Paris and another plane to Warsaw. And then we took a train from, so that's Tom's wonderful drawing of the Polish rail line going to Warsaw. Mm-hmm.
Amazing details. There's a picture of the two of you boarding your plane, sorry.
Right.
And the baggage being loaded. Look at that.
Amazing.
And it looks like there's an angel looking on at the bottom.
Yeah.
And taxi. It is an amazing drawing. So I know you wanted to talk a little bit about some Polish history, because it's important if we're going to know the Polish L'Arche community that we understand a little bit of the context for when it was founded and how dangerous that was.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little bit about the history and the story how L'Arche community in Poland was founded. So in 1980s, this big solidarity movement was born in Poland, and people, especially the workers, were protesting and for the freedom. I think the sign on the top, the white and black, is they said, "We want a freedom and peace." So that was in 80s, and a little bit after that, the Polish army came, and then they created martial law in Poland. So I remember I was 11 years old, and the tank came, and they basically put all the political leaders from the Solidarity to prison for many years. Yeah. So happens actually at the same time L'Arche Poland was born, the same time when the martial law began, and because the L'Arche community was associated with church, it was illegal. So they have to open the first home underground, and the assistant didn't get paid. They had to go actually to work and pay money in to be in this community. That was the beginning of L'Arche in Poland. Mm-hmm. So a very interesting story. There was the way how they bought the first house. So L'Arche in France had the money, and they contact the people in Poland, and because the borders were closed, the bishop at the time, Bishop of Krakow, his name was Macharski, who was very loved by the people of Krakow. He took a risk and he went to Rome, and the money was smuggled from Tralee to Rome, and in the suitcase he drove back through the border, and because he have a government license plate, they didn't stop him so they didn't take the money away. So that was the money he brought back to Poland, and they were able to buy the first home.
That's an incredible story. Wow.
And he became a friend of a large community for many, many years. Very faithful man. He became a cardinal after.
Now, before you went to Poland with Tom, you were actually an assistant.
I was assistant from 91 on and off to 96 before I came to Daybreak. So that's my there's a few pictures from and the picture on the right, there's a picture of Carl. And there's actually we met him with Tom later. Yeah.
And what so from 91 to 97 you said?
96, yeah.
96, okay.
Yeah.
Which community was that?
It's called Large Śledziowice, is near Krakow, Poland.
Okay.
That's the one who was founded in 1981. So that's our train to Krakow, because first, before we went to Krakow, we visited my parents. Tom and I, we visited my parents in another town called Poznań. So in Krakow, Tom met his cousin for the first time in his life. And when I learned about his cousins, all of them, the architects, professor at university, and very, very talented artists and architects.
You can see the art hanging behind them. Yeah.
Got his vision of art, and especially the details of,
So, well, that's really interesting that Tom, as an artist, has roots in an artistic family.
Mm-hmm. And the person on the left, that was his cousin, is very, very famous writer and journalist. Mm-hmm. That's my visiting my mom and dad in Poznań. Of the Polish food, pierogis, and that's the dinner at Large Śledziowice in Poland. Tom is sitting beside Carol there.
So this is the same Carl that was in that earlier shot.
Right. Yeah.
How many, do you know offhand how many homes the community has?
But right now there's 5 communities in Poland. This is the first one. This one have 3 homes, 2 homes actually. But in the last 10 years, they become more open to workshops. They used to have a field when they grew potatoes and carrots. Now they build a workshop, and they welcome about 130 people with disability. So there's become more like programs, that's what they get the money from the social services and the government. But there's 2 homes still remain there. So in actually year 2001, when Steve Knezevich and I, we took a trip to Poland on the retreat, we visit the same home, this large community, and Carl actually was still there. He was on his deathbed, and 2 months after he died, actually. So, yeah, that's us. So when I think about our story, there's always something that looks like every year something happened, like every 10 years. So Tom was born he was born 1970, but 1971 his dad died. 1961 when Tom was 1 year old. 1971 he went to Lourdes. 1981 the community in Poland was born. 2001 we went again. And now it's 2021. Tom is 61 years old. I'm 51. So just a little reflection of our stories, basically.
It makes such a difference for us to hear a story connected to relationships with people that we know. So we really appreciate, Tomek, you sharing about your time and to understand just the difficult beginnings of Large Poland that that it really that it involved people taking risks, and it was part of the social kind of change movement in Poland to make life better
That's right.
for people.
And I remember from the stories that the first couple of years, actually, with the secret police would come to home and try to close them down. Yeah.
Wow.
Only because they were associated with church.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and Tom's story.
Thank you for listening, everyone.
Yeah.
Were we?
I'm not talking by Zoom. But,
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Ellen.